Hi everyone, Donna here with Bookkeeping Made Simple. This is the show where we talk about all kinds of things that have to do with business. And honestly, most personal development has a lot to do with business because the better you are as a person, the better you're going to be as a leader, which is what business ownership requires. We also talked a great deal about accounting, payroll, and tax because that is my specific business. But not just that, but we talk about mindset, we talk about coaching, we talk about what it takes to be a business owner. It's not an easy job. And we talk about anything that basically that I can come up with to help you grow your business. And today we are going to talk about QuickBooks. QuickBooks, by the way, I have worked with QuickBooks since they became big enough to have a market share, really. QuickBooks came on the market in 1997. I began working with it in 1998. So I've worked the original desktop version. I've worked with the original online version. I've watched them go through several different iterations. And I've kind of seen the writing on the wall for this for quite some time. So that's going to be our topic for today. Now, before I get started, as always, if you enjoy this show, please like, share, and subscribe. That is very much how I grow my channel. And the point of this is really to get this information out to you so that you have the information you need to run your business. Of course, if you would like Bookkeeping Made Simple to take care of your bookkeeping and accounting needs, please feel free to reach out to us. Our number is 801-692-0032. Or you can email us at donna@mysimplebookkeeping.com. Or you can check out our website. We have calendar links so you can set up an appointment without having to pick up the phone. And that is at mysimplebookkeeping.com. So jumping right in, I've said for a long time now, probably the past 5 years, I have seen that Intuit is trying to move everything to the cloud. They are trying to get rid of the standalone desktop version of QuickBooks. And they've kind of taken their sweet time about it, but it is official now. If you are not a QuickBooks Desktop, let me back up. QuickBooks moved from the standalone desktop program already. They did that several years ago. In order to use desktop QuickBooks and use the features that it includes, you had to buy a subscription, which runs about $700, $800 a year, depending on what particular services you need. Now they have said they will no longer sell new subscriptions to QuickBooks Desktop. Like I said, I've seen the writing on the wall for this. So I'm really, really shocked at this. And by the way, I'm speaking very US centric. My clients are only in the United States. I don't work with international clients at this time. So you have to have a US based business. I say I don't work with international clients. I've had a client in Turkey. I've had a client in Hong Kong, but their businesses were in the United States. So technically it wasn't international. We didn't have to worry about IFRS, for example. We didn't have to worry about international accounting standards. So we work with US GAAP. And for those of you that don't know, GAAP is GAAP, and it stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Standards. That is the standard that we work with here at Bookkeeping Made Simple. So, as of July 31st of 2022, you will no longer be able to purchase a QuickBooks Desktop subscription unless you are an existing subscriber. This is US specific. So if you are not in the United States, if you're using a Canadian or European version of QuickBooks, this may not affect you. But it definitely affects those of us in the United States. So existing subscribers are not impacted. However, with that said, that really means you can continue to renew your subscription. And really what they mean is you're not impacted yet. Okay, I'm reading the press release, I'm looking at this, and I'm like, no, it means you're not impacted yet. The writing's on the wall, people. If you are an Intuit subscriber, they are going to insist at some point in the future, they're going to discontinue QuickBooks Desktop, and you will have to use QuickBooks Online or find a different solution. So they will be continuing to provide security updates, product updates, and support for existing subscribers after this July 31st date. But I would not, oh, and enterprise subscribers are not impacted. Part of that is that enterprise subscribers, that means that they have a very large business, and they really do, QuickBooks Online is not going to be able to do much for them. Now, like I said, this affects the United States only. Desktop Pro Plus, Premier Plus, Mac Plus, and Desktop Enhanced Payroll will not be discontinued at this time, but they are doing a stop sell. So the discontinuation is on the wall, okay? If you buy your QuickBooks subscription prior to July 31st, 2024, you'll be able to continue to renew it for a period of time. I do not expect this to continue very long. I fully expect them to completely discontinue everything except for enterprise level QuickBooks. As an accountant, however, I migrated out of QuickBooks Desktop years ago. That was the original product, and that was what I learned how to use QuickBooks on. And then when they rolled out QuickBooks Online, the first iteration of it, it was awful. Like, it was awful. I would sit there twiddling my thumbs, waiting for a page to load. It's much better now. The audit trail is useful. The audit features are useful. It's actually, I can actually go back in and see what's going on. So I really like that. But really the bottom line is online is inferior to desktop. They are trying to force us all to switch. My firm are QuickBooks Online Elite Pro Advisors. So we are the top of the line. All of our clients are on QuickBooks Online. The reason for that, however, and I want to make this really clear, is because of the accountant features. So I like QuickBooks Online because I can go in as an accounting firm owner and I can assign my staff to a client. I can remove my staff from a client. There's nothing that's sitting in anybody's desktop that I need to worry about. Everything's there. So there's a lot that is very useful. And again, this allows me to have a lot of control over which members of my staff have access to which clients. And then I don't have to sit there and I don't have to call a client and say, hello, Mr. Client, I need you to change the passwords on your remote desktop because I fired somebody. I don't have to do that. I can take care of all that behind the scenes. The client doesn't need to be bothered with it. We just take care of it. And then we tell the client, you know, you can run any report you want in QuickBooks Online. Everything's there. It's updated in real time. We work on everybody's books once a week. So you're never more than a week behind. We know what's going on. You should be able to see what's going on. And it really enhances the transparency. They've really improved it a lot. But be aware, desktop is being phased out. Everything now is going to software as a service. So I think it's important for business owners to be aware of that. I've talked to one yesterday who she loves her QuickBooks Desktop, and I was like, 3 or 4 years, you won't be able to use it anymore. And it will be prohibitively expensive for a small business. So be aware that that's going to happen. Now, If you would like to get ahead of the curve, I do recommend migrating to QuickBooks Online. One of the questions I get asked a lot, however, is what about other accounting software? Well, I've used FreshBooks, I've used Zoho Books, I've used Sage's top of the line, really meant for giant conglomeration type software. I've used QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online, Xero is, I hate Xero. And the reason why I don't like these other solutions is manyfold. Okay. One, their accounting access is only useful for solopreneur type accountants. I'm not a solopreneur. I have staff, and my staff need to be able to get into the books, and I do not need to have to call the client and say, oh, can you please give Terry access to your books, when I can do it in QuickBooks Online invisibly. That is the number one thing. Also, their audit trails suck. Their Xero in particular seems to regard downloading bank feeds as reconciliation. It's not. Reconciliation is what happens at the end of the month when you get your bank statement and you sit down with your bank statement. I put mine up on a monitor and open it up as a PDF, and I start doing it just like I did in high school, when back in the day when I had a checkbook and I had to see which checks were outstanding, which deposits were outstanding that didn't show up on my statement, so I could figure out what my bank balance was. If you are under 30, you do not understand how hard it used to be to do accounting. Now everything is updated in real time, and we don't have to worry about that. We just download the bank feeds, and it's a lot easier. But just because you download the bank feeds does not make your books correct. There's a lot that goes into accounting, and these other, like I said, FreshBooks, Zoho Books, Sage is too big for most people. Peachtree, I think, has died. Haven't heard anything about it in years. Intuit really is the small business software for accounting. And yes, Xero is trying to horn in on their stuff, but Xero is so inferior and it's so difficult to use, and it's such a pain in the neck. And you can't just go in and modify something and have it show up on the audit trail. You have to delete the transaction and then re-enter the transaction, which is against generally accepted accounting standards in the United States. So I'm not okay with it. I don't like Xero. They keep saying CPAs help develop it. And I was like, what, did you pick the bottom of the class? Did you pick the people that were one question away from failing the CPA exam? Because these people don't know what they're talking about. Yes, I know. I realize that sounds really mean, but seriously, it's against IFRS and it's against US GAAP. You don't just delete and re-enter things. It's better to modify it or put in a journal entry, depending on what you're trying to do. So be aware, they are planning to get rid of it. As I'm reading the press release, they're saying they're not planning to get rid of desktop. They're planning to get rid of desktop. They've been planning this for years, because they can actually make more money. They can update software in real time if it's all software as a service. And that's something that's really important to Intuit. I hear a lot of complaints about QuickBooks, and most of those complaints are from people that have no idea what the hell they're doing. There's a whole subreddit on QuickBooks. And like I said, most of the complaints are from people that are not accountants. They shouldn't be bookkeepers. They should not ever do anything more than manually balance a checkbook, and I'm not sure they can do that. They don't know what GAAP is. They don't know what the accounting standards are. They don't know anything, and they're the ones that are making the complaints. So QuickBooks Online is the top of the line. They are going to be, other than the enterprise level QuickBooks Desktop programs, we're not going to have QuickBooks Desktop for long. So if you're thinking about migrating to the cloud, now's a good time. And we would love to help you with that. It's really not that difficult. And with that said, one, I recommend you move to QuickBooks Online. I do not recommend any other products, and I've used them all. And two, and I will put a caveat with that. If you're a very large hedge fund, such as FTX, you have no business using QuickBooks, much less QuickBooks Online, because it is designed for small businesses. It's not designed for hedge funds. Use the proper tools for the job. If you're a small business, very small business, a solopreneur, QuickBooks is the way to go. If you are General Motors, you're going to have a proprietary software that your staff will use. So just be aware of that. For small business, I cannot recommend anything. I don't think there's anything out there better than QuickBooks Online. And that is why we're Elite Pro Advisors. So if you have any questions about QuickBooks, Intuit, it doesn't mean I like everything Intuit's doing. I'm just saying it's not the best, but it's better than anything else we have in the States. Feel free to drop us a line. I'd love to talk to you about what you need to do to prepare to migrate to the cloud, when that might be happening. I do not see them bringing back QuickBooks Desktop. I think as of right now, I think we've got about 3 or 4 years before it's completely discontinued. So be aware of that. Nothing else is going to be updated. They're not going to be updating anything for desktop. They're really putting all of their effort into QuickBooks Online. So like I said, be aware of that and this is a really good time to start making plans for that migration to the cloud. And with that said, as always, if you enjoy these videos, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to go ahead and close this video. I'm looking forward to talking to you again really soon about other things that have a lot to do with business. Have a great weekend.